Everyone. Hello, Fanny.
Hello.
Hello. Let's do another problem of the week today. I found one on Stack Exchange. I think it's an interesting one we can do together. Let me
Okay,
share it to you.
please do.
So that's the first one. Best way to
Nice.
display loading time when data table is updated.
Updated.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe we can read it. Would be fun, by the way, together just to write down the problem. What's the real problem?
Like summarize it in
Yeah,
our own words.
in on one words. Even it's a sticky. So,
Let me just jump in to
oh yeah,
Mira.
it's in Whimsical. Let me share the link to
Oh,
you right now in the
wins.
private chat.
Okay. Thanks.
So we have data tables where users can do different actions that record a new list of data to be loaded. Okay, so adding filters, deleting rows, uploading new data, etc. But what would be the best way to display the loading waiting time, considering that some users might have a fast or slow internet connection? Yeah, absolutely. And that some modifications could be so fast that some users might not even see the data being reloaded. Oh, interesting. And in some cases where the reload is quite fast, would you force or fake a loading time of 1 or 2 seconds to show users that something was applied? So what would it be? A loading indicator, a spinner, a skeleton screen, or something else? Okay. The title and description is a little bit different.
Just a sec. I
Oh.
still can't find you on
Oh,
Whimsical.
sorry. I shared you the wrong link.
Ah, thank you.
Sorry, my bad.
Thought I could find my way, but got it.
So,
Interesting.
loading, interesting. I was thinking that the data table is updating while you're inputting something, but it's not the case. It's more, well, you're updating something, and there's something happening in backend. So, do you block someone? Do you show a skeleton screen? Do you show loading time and stop everyone, stop the user to do something? Or sometimes it's so fast. Do I have to give this feedback? Interesting. What do you think?
Wow. Okay. Wait.
What's the problem here?
Some actions that require a new list of data. So the whole table. Because at first I thought, okay, what if we refresh or like have a loading state on the item at a time? That sounds like it's a whole thing.
Yeah, it's a whole thing sometimes. Huh?
Yeah, internet connection can't predict what's going to happen on their side.
So you have a big data table, and maybe something will be updated in the back end. We don't know exactly what. So it could be many things. It could be the whole table, sometimes just a row. If we adding a filter, for example, we're filtering the data table, maybe it will be a little bit slow, how we inform the user.
Yeah, but I guess the core of the problem is like in the third paragraph here, like in cases where reload is quite fast, would you force or fake a loading time? Which we have already talked about, because it is sometimes useful to like create a bit of friction
It is,
for
huh?
these like high cost tasks. So again, because they have all really good questions, like would the user wonder if the removal of the filter was applied? Because if it happens too fast, sometimes you just don't notice it at all.
Or even if it's way too fast, you can think it's a bug that didn't happen. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if we can rephrase or summarize, I think the core of the question is like, how do you confirm to a user that data has been refreshed even though instantaneous, like something like that.
Um, Instantaneous, exactly. Okay, okay. We wrote a good article about it, right?
I think that shows up in our loading state.
Loading feedback, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
because it might also come in. I think we might have like mentioned it in a couple of different topics, but definitely on the loading piece.
We, yeah, it's not
Because
so, yeah,
yeah, because forcing a waiting moment makes sense in a lot of cases. Um, the first thing we can think of is like sending an email. We're used to seeing a bit of a toast now. Whenever you send an email, you get a sent confirmation and you get your 5 second moment to undo and to just make sure everything's fine. So that's like the system kind of makes it a point to keep the email in the outbox for that 5 seconds, whereas it could be sent out instantaneously, but they like make the friction on purpose.
so one of our principles or rationale could be to give any feedback, right after that they did something, any kind of action. Let's give
Yeah,
feedback.
because that's what I'm thinking too for this table situation. It can be a toast,
Can be a toast.
like refreshed, something just quick, or it can be, since it sounds like it's the whole table, it could be a temporary like skeleton state, just
On
so
what
you feel that
exactly?
it's loading.
So you
On
would
what?
do a skeleton states on the whole table when there's an action that will affect the whole table.
Well, it's because they kind of mention a filtering scenario,
Yeah.
like if the user removes a filter and then it just like instantaneously changes, you might want to have like a flash of a skeleton as the table like re-displays.
I know that. I think why we don't see a skeleton that often is because it's a little bit more complicated than a loading, indicator. Building a skeleton is you maybe need to build this component first. Loading most of the design system where you can just, put a loading indicator on top. A skeleton is a little bit more work. But it's a little bit better sometimes. You feel that his interface is working, the system is working, and you can see things happening, and it's not just wait and see. There's part of it that is coming to you, and this build trust with the system. Okay, I'll wait.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. It is more costly, and funny enough, we have a new like front end dev on our team on a project that we have. And one of the first screens that he tackled, I was so happy when he said like, "Where's the skeleton state for this?" And we kind of never took the time to like actually explicitly build them. For him, it was just a reflex. He needed the skeleton state to just put it in as he was building the components. So I was like, "Great."
I think the first step is maybe a loading per items and then a skeleton screen. Skeleton is the best. I think we should aim for a skeleton screen in general because maybe other part of the interface is still useful. Let's say you're filtering and the data table is updated. Maybe you want to choose another filter or maybe tweak things or maybe do something else or start a search or whatever it is. By doing a skeleton, you can actually leave the user to, well, they can do something else. They can investigate, they can scan, they can think, so skeleton is very useful for that. Just a loading indicator that will stop everything. Yeah, feel like 10 years ago.
But so wait, you said like load the rows one at a time and then skeleton screen?
Not sure. All depend on the actions. That's if you're deleting a row, for example, you're deleting a row.
Yes, yeah.
There's
If
no.
you're acting, sorry, yeah. Go
I
ahead.
don't know. let's say we're deleting a row. What could happen?
Yeah, I agree that if you're acting on a single row, you don't have to to force a feedback for that on the page level. I would do
want
like
a feedback. Well, we said that we want a feedback. So a single row, what would be the feedback? The animation of seeing the row disappear?
some kind of animation. I would think that's really where you can play with that. Like, first of all, I would make sure there's like a confirmation, and that delete not something you can accidentally click on. So like, either it's hidden in a bit of a nested menu, or when you do click delete, you get a mini confirmation like locally right next to the button. So already there, you're like kind of taking a bit of a moment to confirm the action. So whenever you do that final click, I think it is a matter of like physical or visual feedback animation. Maybe the like content clears, you're left with like an empty box, and then just like it happens fast, but some kind of
It's true.
feeling of tangibility that it's leaving.
So you said two things here. You said when you're, near the action, let's say the action button of deleting and the animation, but something is so fast, you would give these two feedbacks, meaning confirmation, and then you see, the reaction. Maybe it's too much, right?
It depends on the context of this table. Like if this is a huge like database type of, you've got tens of thousands of entries, you might want to be able to quickly get rid of stuff. If this is data that's like been really, curated and manually edited or whatnot over time, it's like a big deal if you delete it. Okay. So unless either you offer like a confirmation of deletion before, or you offer some kind of an archive, a secondary way to go back to that thing, put it back, like some kind of emergency situation.
If you had to choose between are you sure or an undo or an archive or a restore, what would you propose?
Are you sure?
Okay.
Something I've seen, where did I see that? They made it really neat. I saw a delete interaction where it's a really tiny item. You get the 3 dots on the item, and then delete is the first thing in that list. And if you click delete, the button splits in 2, and you get to click again or click out.
So it's some
like
kind
really
of
small
are
words,
you sure, but you're confirming items by items. That's interesting. Let's separate, two kind of feedbacks: item by items and big update. Let's do this one for rows. Let's try with this this assumption that we have, just a table with exactly what you said. One action, an overflow menu. You click, you delete, and are you sure, or you're changing to are you sure you want to delete? Click. That's done. Let's design this first, and then we'll design it the next one.
Okay, wait. If I switch over to
Wireframe same.
what do we have in here?
We have a table, something like that. We do, but Whimsical is not that powerful in the table.
We do, but there won't be like, I don't think there's like selected states on these.
And I cannot change the width of the column.
Yeah.
That's too bad. So
I
let's
remember
fake it. Yeah.
last time we were like, these suck.
Do the table,
offense,
we'll do the
Whimsical.
button. Oh yeah, I got you.
I can just take boxes.
Yeah, do some boxes. I want that. Maybe let's take this one, for example. Small one.
So let's see.
Let's create, I don't know, something like this. Okay.
Oh, I can't. Oh, it's because it's. Sorry, my bad.
It's very fast, but not that flexible. But it's fast. So let's see
Okay, here you go.
that's one.
Data.
Let's group that together. Okay. So what's next is delete is how can we do that? What would be the best way to do that?
Yeah, well, let me just show you the one I saw
Yeah.
recently. Let's say you first click on the delete word, or at least maybe the drop down is like a bit thinner. But then the confirmation like becomes not under your mouse, so that you have to like go explicitly like select it, and then you can like cancel and confirm. And just so that there's
you
two
have to
clicks,
move
something like
your
that.
cursor.
Yeah.
Oh, got it. Yeah. It's
So
smart.
confirm is like delete, cancel. You're safe.
And what will happen in next item? We will maybe have a little animation of the row disappearing.
The row, I would imagine, like, well, I don't know that we can, make an animation in here, but step 1 is this. Step 2, data disappears.
Exactly.
And then step 3, this gets like swoosh.
So if it's slow, let's say it's fast, it's an instance news, and now it's slow. What we do? We do a loading. Do what we do.
If what?
If it's
It's
slow, very slow.
On the row?
Yeah, just on the row, just on one item. Do you? So let's go with the skeleton concept. Well, the row can stay there until the system actually remove it, but it will change maybe the state of the row.
Maybe it can like. Maybe the first thing we do, if you actually confirm deletion, we like gray it out, so that immediately you have some kind of feedback, something's happening on this row, and then whatever time it needs for the system to actually delete,
Yeah,
then we kick in the animation.
absolutely. So the next step will be animation.
So like this could be gray.
Oh, this is great. Sorry.
Well, maybe just the whole thing just looks disabled with text, because also you can still see like what you deleted. Maybe
Look disabled.
that has a value.
You're right. So look disable, and then it will just disappear. Yeah. It's like that. Good. Even that we can change it like that. Okay. It's good. It's good. That's good enough. We don't have to put any loading state. It's in gray. It's a common understanding
Well,
of.
I think for deleting, I don't know that it's a loading that you would see, because loading would really
No,
work
exactly.
well for the filtering scenario that they describe. Unless you're deleting like a bunch of things, bulk style.
Let's do. We have something right now for one item. So let's say we're updating a list of rows. We're updating filters. We're deleting a list of rows. What would it be? So following the same concept that we have. Well, it all depends again. Yeah. If gray mean we are working on it, would it be consistent to put everything that is updating in gray? If it's a language that we adopt? Not sure.
Well, technically, if you're in a multi-select state on a table, let's say like a check mark mechanism, stuff would already be highlighted in some way. Because let's say if we think of this one, I think the reason I got thinking of the grayed out state is like you only clicked on the menu, three
It's
dots.
true. It's true.
So you're not exactly selected on the item, whereas multi-select you would be. So I don't know that this feedback would be necessary, the like grayed out state. If you're, let's see.
Again, if it's slow, maybe. Let's prototype it. Yeah.
If we have a checkbox, it's not even square. What the heck? What's this? Okay. Okay, whatever. And then this one is the box. I don't have the right icons in here. Oh, this should be, I'm sorry. This one is what I need. So let's say these are checked. Hello? Okay.
There it is. These are checks.
Technically, the box can have a state for that as well.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
Wait, how do I? Oh. Anyways, I can't have white and purple, but
We got it. The state is just, different. We have a state for a select state.
so you're already clear on what you're acting on, and then your menu. I think after the confirmation.
Is it the menu here, maybe?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's interesting because I feel like we had a chat about this on another project where can the menu of a single item affect the selection, or do you have to have an outside menu? That's a whole other chat.
That's another, yeah, we can have fun just because, it would make sense if you select, we can have a good debate here. Anyway, let's say we have a classic multi-action button and we're selecting delete or update or filter, whatever it is. But delete is a great use case. Again, same thing here. You could have the same.
Yeah,
the same.
still relevant. Then for this like intermediary state, the first thing I wonder is like, yeah.
No, there's multiple pages. You select multiple items on multiple pages. So you need something like maybe a buttons deleting. You need some kind of feedback.
The total. Yeah.
So items, something like that. Somewhere, you confirm that you're confirming for whatever it is. It's not great. It's not. No, it's not cute. But it's not cute at all. It's not impossible. Just make it a little bigger.
Yep.
And then. So,
yeah, the first thing I wonder here is like, can your not cells? Can your rows still be selected when they're getting deleted? Like maybe the first thing we do is like change the selected state, which is checkbox and purple. Maybe you need to be like, the state where the checkbox is not selectable.
Exactly.
When it's like a line. I don't know.
Yeah,
we don't have it here, but
it's disabled. So you want to provide this feedback that is about to be deleted?
Well, momentarily.
Oh,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because as soon as you click confirm, the drop down's gone. you're left on where you were. And then if your internet is slow, we still need to give something immediate.
Somewhere,
Yeah.
whatever it is. So it could be, you know, near the checkbox will just make sense, you know, ongoing deletion or deleting, the classic deleting, something like that. Oh yeah, it could be that, you know, deleting. So without having a skeleton, you're providing something if it's slow. That's great. If it's something else than deleting, you can add another column.
Oh, no, yeah. It could be like duplicating,
Duplicating.
archiving,
Exactly.
copying. Yeah.
And if you're updating, okay, let's keep it like that. And at the end, it's okay. So if it's like most of the rows on the screen, maybe a loading will make more sense than seeing, you know, the screen just explode in front of you. So maybe a loading if it's too much. But what is too much?
Some kind of a rate, not ratio, but like certain percent of the screen is affected.
Yeah.
Like
What would be a great
more
number?
than 60% of your viewport is gonna change. So then we can do a full page feedback.
Yeah. Oh, so let's note it somewhere. I have to switch to post
Something
some.
like
Oh,
more than 60%.
more than 60%. You have a loading for everything, and so wait for it. It's yeah, wait for it. Even if you have a slow connection, because there's a big impact on your screen. You know, a lot of things will just disappear. If it's just a couple of items, it will not change too much. And it's interesting because 60% viewport on a small device and a bigger device, ooh, that could be a problem. So maybe it would be
A
easier.
different value.
60% of, you know, it's more than 60 items selected on the page or something like that. Anyway, we have to find a ratio. This is where we
Right.
can usability test our way out of it. That's great. And then maybe the last problem for what I see is, let's say we are changing filters. So we have a facet somewhere and we change the filters.
Filtering.
Whatever it is somewhere. We're searching, we have a quick search, we have filter, whatever is happening. Can we use the same concept? Or we have a skeleton for everything. And then we have a loading.
Well, when you say skeleton for everything, do you mean like, let's say there are 65 rows on the screen, there are 65 gray boxes? Because in my mind, a skeleton screen, you get one for the component. The component is the table, and then it just looks like a handful of rows. It looks like a table. It's fast to load, and then you don't jump from a context to another when you're affecting the whole table. Like you're still looking at the same kind of grid of stuff.
So
I would think
yeah.
skeleton, just because filters do indeed affect the whole table.
So skeleton, absolutely. And why not having a skeleton instead of a loading for even multi-select, you know? Because if we want to put
Well,
a skeleton,
Yeah.
maybe.
Well, for this one, it's tricky because they're gonna leave. I think this moment that we're kind of figuring out is the leaving of the rows.
Sure.
Whereas in filtering, stuff is changing. It'll still be there.
Well, change the whole screen in a way. You know, facets, or if we're deleting, you know, most of the rows, will affect the whole screen in general.
Yeah. And it makes me think, actually, when you're deleting two, you're still going to end up on basically the same view. Rows, white rows.
Exactly, but different data.
Content, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe a skeleton, even you know, more than 6. Maybe we can have this simple rules that an item, one item is, you know, easy. More than a couple of items, skeleton everything. Because if it's fast, it's fast. If it's slow, well, I know, at least I will know. It will be my loading indicator.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. So skeleton, how we can, well, what's the icon for skeleton? Well, it's a skeleton, so.
Well, it's this without the data.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oops.
So skeleton your stuff, it would be great. So, but one item you don't have to, you know. Well, we are doing some kind of a skeleton here with a
Ish. Yeah.
ish.
And like these could kind of, oops. Also, let me try and
Oh.
frame by frame this for you.
Ooh,
You know, they vanish
they
towards
vanish.
the middle. How cute.
It's cute, and it's following the what we did for one item only. The one item will
Yeah.
disappear with one animation. So how you can animate the whole screen? Well, skeleton screen, skeleton all the items that are affected, and do it. So no loading time. There's something, I'm proud when I don't have I don't have to design a loading button or loading animation. I like it.
To me, loading, now that we have this front end guy who's all about the skeletons,
Yeah,
skeleton is the loading.
is the loading.
It feels empty, it feels there, solid. Although there's nothing yet. But
No.
then when the stuff does come, it's
And you're in
seamless.
control. You feel in control,
Yeah.
but you're not really in control. But you feel that the system is working. You're in control. There's no bug. It's okay. And even if it's fast, I know that most of my bank products now have this skeleton thing, and I need this because you're getting my money somewhere, my information about my money. Make sure
Yeah.
it's the right one and it's not
Exactly.
buggy. And I feel that the system is working, so stay there. So
Changes
good.
everything.
Yeah. Can we write a design rational? So
Okay.
yeah, let's hear.
Our
Maybe we'll post it.
principles are, you already have it, immediate feedback.
That's for sure.
That's always true. If it makes sense for the use case, we can say something about the double confirmation, or like extra click to delete.
How would you say that?
So make the delete interaction proportionate to the cost of the action. Something like
And
that.
let's do make the action. No, not the delete, but something else. Make the crucial interaction proportionate to the cost
Yeah,
of the
well,
action.
destructive. Make destructive
Oh,
actions proportionately, not just proportionate, but like proportionately hard to do.
Well, there's friction. You said something about friction. So
Yeah.
traction, not entirely frictionless.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the costlier the action, the more friction there should be.
Oh, well said.
Which makes me think of, what did I just see? I just saw like a write-up about offboarding from Adobe systems. They put a lot of friction because it is high cost to lose a customer. So that's a great example.
Absolutely. And yeah, there's no user experience without friction, and friction is a good thing. Even more when you're in the enterprise UX and you're making important decisions that can have an impact on the whole organization. Yeah. And what else?
And then for this kind of
Yeah.
animation, maybe the principle is like giving, I want to say something about like physicality. Like when you manipulate like an actual object, it has feedback, it has a body, and it just doesn't just disappear.
Yeah.
Like there's steps that need to happen. So like recreating physicality or something.
Feel feedback.
Like gradual feedback.
It can be so many things, but it has to feel the effect of well, the feedback. Well, that's it.
Of
That's
his action. Yeah.
the feedback of his action. Why not? But there's three very strong here. Three strong rational here. Give immediate feedback. You have to, even if it's fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. So that's good. That's good. So there it is. Do you want to now re-explain everything that we did? From
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's try and wrap it up.
Yeah.
So this user on this UX Stack Exchange is struggling with showcasing loading times when something in a data table is being changed. So either something's deleted, something is being filtered, and then the rows change. How do you communicate that stuff is happening to your user? First off, we tackled the deletion case, where per row you're like, let's say using a secondary menu, reaching the delete option, we thought it would be smart, depending on the case, that you need to click again to confirm your deletion. This depends on the cost of this task, like depends on the context of the table, basically. Once you do confirm, a very first thing needs to happen. So in the case of a single item, we were like, let's make it at least look disabled so that you've already acted on it, it's kind of blocked, but you have confirmation that something's happening. Then we can have a bit of an animation where the row like shrinks and then kind of poofs away. So you get a visual, tangible feedback of it deleting.
So
Then this second case is like maybe a multi-select option. And let's say you're doing a bulk deletion. A point to note here is to confirm how many items you're affecting. So you might be, as Benoit pointed out, you might be selecting stuff on multiple pages. So it's good to have a reminder of what you're actually affecting. You still get a secondary click just to make sure everything's good. And then for this case, we were like, since this might affect a big portion of the page, we can just go directly to our loading state, which in a context of a table is useful to be a skeleton state. I always say state. So immediately you get the skeleton state for these rows. They just appear like rectangles basically, and then they could have their own animation of like shrinking down, gradually removing themselves, and then the rest of the table jumps up. And our principles for that rationale is that it's really important to always give immediate feedback. Even if your internet is slow or even if your internet is super fast, always be right there and communicating that. And then make whatever destructive interaction, don't make it super frictionless. Sometimes you do need to add a bit of friction. So again, be aware of your use case and the workflow of your user, but typically you want stuff to be hard to delete, at least a little.
yeah.
And then there is value in the user feeling tangibility. So the user must feel the feedback of his action. So stuff can't just leave the page, and then if you blink, you miss it. Create these moments of physicality in your divs and boxes.
Well said. Another data label is fixed. Love it. Thank you, Fanny. By the way, yeah, it was fun. I needed that today. Go check our website. We do have a couple of great articles about data tables, loading, feedback that Fanny wrote with some colleagues here. And if you have another problem, share it to us in comments or elsewhere, and we'll try to fix it together. Yeah. Thank you again, Fanny. It was fun. Let's do that. Let's do another one very soon.
Of course.
Have a wonderful day.
Bye, everyone.